let's talk about Leave the World Behind. So, going into this movie, I knew very little about it. I knew it was kind of another apocalyptic type of movie premise, but it was the cast that really drew me into it. It was Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali, you have Ethan Hawke, and Kevin Bacon. Great cast, ensemble cast. I was like, wow, I have to check this out. And to get this out of the way, the performances were phenomenal. I mean, Mahershala, he's been very picky lately with a lot of his roles. I know the whole Blade situation is happening and the controversy behind all that. I hope they can get that really sorted out, and because I think he'll be a great addition to the MCU whenever that happens. But he's a great actor overall, and he was so good in this film. Julia Roberts. Now, I can't recall the last time I actually watched a Julia Roberts film. It's been a while. And in recent outings of her stuff that I've seen, I was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about for me. I think this is one of the best performances she's given in quite some time, in my opinion. And out of all the things that I've seen recently of hers, which is not a lot. So, I mean, if you are more versed in Julia Roberts, you may have a different take on this, but I thought this was a great performance from Julia Roberts that I have seen in some time. I love her character, how she's like this advertising person. I can relate to that because I used to work in advertising. But she's basically a likable Karen. She plays this Karen because she hates everybody. She hates people. She complains about everything. She's paranoid about everything. And she's kind of one of those, persons that always kind of want to get her way and want people to always side with her whenever she decides the things. You could tell that even the way she runs the family. It was her idea to go on a vacation, to take a weekend getaway because, she wanted an escape from the city and all that, an escape from the people. She had this great opening, which was kind of pretty much centered around her. Ethan Hawke plays her husband, and he's there too. But it basically centers around her, and it's like how she's packing for this trip that she planned for the family to get away from it all. And she's looking out the window. And she does like this little soliloquy about humans and people and going about things, and the beauty of it all. And then how it quickly does a 180. She's like, but then I remember how much I fucking hate people. What a fucking opening! And it pretty much properly sets the tone of what to expect from this movie. It's a great performance. And Ethan Hawke was Ethan Hawke, kind of playing this, kind of zaddy like character, which was interesting. And Kevin Bacon playing I guess you could kind of call him the doomsdayer, kind of over preparer. I could easily see him as like a huge right winger and all that stuff like that. One of those people that you expect to be fully prepared anytime something goes wrong in America, and also someone you probably don't want to mess with, right? So great performance all around. But for the movie itself, now I'm not familiar with Sam's work. I know he was very much responsible for Mr. Robot, which is a show that I never really watched. But it was a phenomenon at the time. And, it was kind of what brought to light Rami Malek, to a lot of our eyes and all that. But I knew kind of the concept and premises behind his show, which dealt a lot with like cyber terrorism, cyber, attacks, technology and society and reality and all that kind of stuff like that. And this is one of those apocalyptic type of movies that really plays heavily into that, which in a way made it more scary because it really touched home. It hit home in a lot of in a many different ways, as far as reliance on technology, the threats of technology when it comes to certain situations, how it could be used against us, especially in government and world affairs and all that. So this is one of those things that really tapped into a lot of those things, which I thought was very interesting to really see play out in this type of format, right? And the way the movie kind of is edited and put out there, it can be easily kind of compared to like an M. Night Shyamalan type of movie. maybe James Gunn in a certain way, but I love these like new directors that are very punchy with their editing and very punchy with their cinematography and being a little bit more artistic in the ways that they do certain things. And this film had a lot of that. The cinematography was so well done in this film. I really, really enjoyed a lot of the camera choices, the transitions, the punchiness of a lot of like the impactfulness. There are a lot of moments of pure kind of anxiety when it comes to certain moments. There was this great 1-2 punch that they had going on with Julia Roberts and the daughter of Mahershala's character, played by a great actress. I'm forgetting her name right now, so forgive me. But they were going through a certain scenario at the same time that Mahershala, Ethan Hawke were going on another scenario with Kevin Bacon. It's like a Mexican standoff happening here, a threat with nature happening in another sense, and the back and forth and how they were playing on each other kind of in a way like a symphony of terror, a symphony of anxiety. So well done. And we had a lot of moments of that here throughout the film. And I think just the way it was edited and directed and the cinematography was done was so good. Story itself was brilliant. I thought it was really, really brilliant how, you have this event that happens and you don't know what to believe as to what's happening, because the first thing that goes is technology, right? So no one can have access to their cell phones, the TVs are down, no one can access the internet, and all that, and then you're just going off of hearsay or things like that, or little snippets, right? And it really explores how technology can backfire in situations like this, and then how, and a lot of like different forms of media have already explored the human element of it all, right? How can people trust each other, especially with their standing beliefs? Like I said, Julia Roberts has her own way of believing things, her trust in people, which is very similar to Knock at the Cabin, kind of same situation where the two dads were debating about humanity and whether or not they should believe in humanity anymore because of how humanity has treated them. In a way, she kind of is going through her own similar thing of like just how she's dealing with people. She works in advertising, so she knows how shady people can be in order to sell things, to sell a belief. And just a lot of those things is one of the main reasons why I got out of advertising, because of all that. So it definitely plays along with all that. But this is done just in its own way. And how it plays again with technology and how that affects people, how it skews people's beliefs and what's out there. But the overall number one theme of this is how us as people view these things that are happening around us and how we react to it, right? And what I mean by that is like, here I was over the weekend watching this thing on Netflix, escaping the real world in a way. And a lot of us do that. We go to movies, we watch shows, we binge things to escape reality sometimes, right? It's one of the more common things that we do to cope and escape from stresses from work, stresses from the news, stresses on economic pressures and all that stuff like that, and how we escape. Some of us go to the gym. Some of us, like Julia Roberts, would want to escape reality by taking a vacation, weekend getaway, drive somewhere, all that stuff. But many of us, we go to media and we will go on YouTube, or we'll watch Netflix, or we'll go to the movies. And this one reoccurring theme revolves around the daughter of the family of Julia Roberts, and how when all of this goes down, her main stress is that she can't finally watch the finale to Friends, because she's been binge watching Friends recently before the family went on the vacation. And that's like her number one concern. There's all these things happening around it where all of a sudden their vacation home was interrupted because the owners decided to come back because of what's happening out there. That's Mahershala and his daughter. You have this weird nature event where all of these deer are now showing up out of nowhere. You have the stuff that's happening around them in the world, with technology shutting down, no access to phones, news, internet, all that stuff. but her main stress is that she can't watch the finale to Friends. And there's this conversation she has with her brother, and because the brother can't understand, like, well, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this such a big deal? And she says it perfectly, where she's like, because watching them makes me happy. It kind of, so in a way she's saying, like, from all this bullshit that happens in the world around us, watching these group of people living their fantasy life, right, which is not realistic at all, especially during that time when it came out. It's like a time that is captured in this moment of a series, right? The daughter of Mahershala even mentions that in the movie, where how you could look back on that time when Friends came out, which so many people watched. I didn't watch it, but my girlfriend at the time was like invested in that series. A lot of people were, but it was like a time that felt like it's such a long time ago. It's like a different reality compared to where we are now, right? But it's a reality, and it's a series that people escape with. Kind of like how I love watching The Office when I need to kind of escape from things or I need to distress myself. A lot of people watch Seinfeld, right? So, but I know a lot of people watch Friends. And she says this is her way to escape, because this is the one source that makes her truly happy. And when the climax really happens at the end of the movie, where we finally realize what is truly happening, and freaking why does New York always have to be the brunt of attacks and things like that, right? It's so unfair, especially me living here and all that. Like I've seen it all. I've been through 9/11, the blackouts, all that stuff. COVID. Why is New York always a central thing where we always have to be the attack center or whatever the case is? But as the climax happens, it was hinted that a neighbor of theirs, built a bunker, for situations like this. And the daughter actually happens to come across it and finds it. And she, as she switches the light, everything turns on. She is now enthralled because, like me, that you probably can't see all of it off camera, I have a wall of DVDs and Blu-rays. Physical media forever, baby. Because when the internet goes down and you need a form of entertainment and you at least have electricity, physical media is the way to go. And that's why I still support physical media to this day. She finds that this wall of DVDs, there is a collection of Friends, and she has the final season of Friends, finds the DVD pops in that last DVD, hits the last episode, the Friends theme kicks in, and that's the end of the movie. And there she found her happy place. That was her number one saving grace, right? And it speaks to a lot of us. It's so poignant, right? How many times have you found yourself like just, you read something in the news, or you are so stressed out because you're looking at all your bills and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to pay for all this? Or you had a bad day at work, right? You fought with a friend of yours, you broke up with a girlfriend, or you had an argument with your wife or husband, and you need a form of escape. And how many times have a lot of us just sat down in front of the TV, popped in a movie, or, went back and rewatched an episode of Saved by the Bell or whatever the case is, left the house, went to the theater, watched the movie, or if you're home also, popped in a video game and started playing for like an hour or two. How many of us have done that, right? And I loved how this was like really an occurring theme in this movie, because in a way, this is how we leave the world behind us. This is how we escape. Like I said, many of us out there are like Julia Roberts' character. We want to escape by going somewhere, going to the beach, taking a trip to Cancun, right? Travel the world, go to the Hamptons, go to the Catskills for a weekend. If you're here in New York. Or if you're like me, go to the theater, watch a movie, walk around a museum, play a video game, pop in Netflix or whatever. So many of us do similar things because this is how I personally leave the world behind me, even just for a brief moment. And that's what made this movie brilliant. I mean, it had its problems. It wasn't a perfect movie, but it was damn entertaining. It really was. And the problems, when I say problems, it's just so minuscule stuff. It's like some character choices, Like I didn't like the whole thing about Julia Roberts and Mahershala kind of like having a little like a fling flirtation. Like I felt that was so cliche. You know, the daughter of Mahershala kind of annoyed me too, but she does represent a voice that's out there in reality and society right now. You know, Ethan Hawke's character was sometimes a little bit very blasé and weak. So there were like certain character choices that, even though can be relatable to real life characters and real life situations and moments, for me, I just think some of that didn't work in the film overall. Again, those were just minor things, but at the end of the day, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I did heart it. And I guess those little things bothered me enough that it took away that 1 star, but still 4 stars for me, if you know me by now, is very strong. 5 stars doesn't happen a lot unless it's a real like banger of a film, right? And for me, I felt nothing was wrong with it. I know I get a lot of criticism from Blake on my rating systems and all that, but I stand by my 4 out of 5 star rating on this film. It's definitely one of those films that could possibly make my best of the year list when we do that. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it was really good. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, or for those of you who have seen it, one tip: if you missed it, you missed it. But it's something to catch that I noticed right away, because it was something that I was wondering, why are they like spending a lot of time on this? In the background, there's this one painting in the main living room of the vacation house, and you'll notice that the image of the painting changes throughout the movie. Now it's interesting because of what Mahershala's character does. He hints that he works with a lot of like finance and stock markets and looking at algorithms and all that stuff like that. When Julia Roberts and her family make it to the house for the first time, you see her in the living room just looking around, you know, surveying the place, and she's like, wow, this place is fantastic. You'll see this canvas behind her, and it looks like waves, like waveforms, right? And it caught my eye immediately. I was like, oh, look, that's interesting. And then each time through the movie, when they go back to that living room, especially when things are changing, the painting changes. It changes all the way through to the end, when like we're like full on chaos mode. We are getting more and more of an understanding of what's happening. Things are out of control. The painting is like a mess. It's more white than black. The wavelength, it looks like it's kind of expanded. Like if you look at like an audio wavelength, you know, like when things are calm, it's just like a slow thing. Like you have like you have peaks up and down very slow. But when things are like rapidly like frantic and all that, everything is like a jumbled mess, right? Or like a lie detector test, right? When things are like crazy like that. That's kind of what this painting looked like towards the end of the movie. So something I picked up that I thought was like a nice little like, ooh, look at that thing in the back. It's kind of like giving a visualization of what is going on right now. And I thought that was really brilliant. If that's something you missed, you may want to go back and look at that, because I thought that was like a nice little thing to catch there in the movie.
With internet privacy being such a huge deal these days, it's more important now than ever to protect yourself. With Surfshark VPN, you can easily hide your IP address and encrypt all data that you send and receive. You can easily switch regions to other countries in the world. This means not only your true IP address and identity is masked, it also means that you can get around any annoying geolocation locked video content. You can truly unlock the full potential of your streaming services, and for me that's important since I need to research or catch up on movies that may not always be available in my region. With Surfshark VPN, I can easily switch to any region like the UK, and this problem simply goes away. And now I can watch Hulu content directly on Disney Plus, or check out some movies on Netflix that I can't otherwise watch here in the US. I also do a lot of banking and account management online, and by using Surfshark VPN, I feel extremely safe and secure doing so. Surfshark VPN also allows you to connect to unlimited devices simultaneously on a single account, and this includes Windows devices, Linux, Android, iOS, Amazon TV, and much more. To take advantage of the current Black Friday deals that they have, make sure to scan the QR code that you see on the screen now, or click on the link in the description below to secure yourself a great deal that gives you a subscription discount over 80% and up to 5 additional months for free. And if you think it sucks, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, which will give you plenty of time to try out Surfshark VPN risk-free.
For full audio episodes of the MovieTime Podcast, make sure to follow and subscribe to the LOWKEY Geek channel on your favorite podcast platform. New episodes are uploaded every week.